Welcome to Wellness and Mindfulness Digest 2026-0625. Today's 12 stories. Story 1, The Compass Framework for Chronic Pain and PTSD, Navigating the Transition from Threat to Safety Through Yoga. Story 2, Scientists Uncover Meditation's Hidden Side Effects. Story 3, Can Breathwork Really Help to Process Trauma? Story 4, Pranayama for Anxiety, 5 Easy Breathing Techniques. Story 5, 10-minute morning yoga for a full body wake up. Story 6, Relieve fatigue with these 6 full-body yoga poses. Story 7, Need to slow down. 20-minute chair yoga can help you put yourself first. Story 8, How to regulate your nervous system and feel calmer in minutes. Story 9, Nervous system regulation, how to get out of survival mode. Story 10, How to lower your cortisol levels when feeling stressed out. Story 11, The beneficial aspects of mindfulness for students of computer engineering. Story 12, Emerging trends in cognitive behavioral therapy for chronic pain, a bibliometric analysis. Story 1, The Compass Framework for Chronic Pain and PTSD, Navigating the Transition from Threat to Safety Through Yoga. If you have spent any time on social media recently, you have probably seen the word cortisol pop up more times than you can count. First, it was cortisol face, then cortisol belly, then the cortisol cocktail, a trendy mocktail made from orange juice, coconut water, and a pinch of salt that somehow promised to fix everything from fatigue to hormonal chaos. Wellness culture, as it tends to do, found a scientific-sounding villain, dressed it up with a skincare problem, and sold you a drink. A new piece from Grazia, India, written by Vani Kumar, is pushing back on this narrative, and it does so with some sobering context. According to a McKinsey Health Institute survey spanning 30 countries, India reported the highest burnout rates of any nation, with 59% of employees experiencing burnout symptoms. That is a public health crisis, not a problem a viral mocktail can fix. So what actually works? The article makes a compelling case for the boring, unsexy answers. Sleep consistency, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day including weekends, turns out to be more effective than any supplement on the market. Spending time in green spaces, even just a walk through a neighborhood park, has measurable, research-backed effects on cortisol reduction. Morning sunlight helps reset the body's internal clock, which directly governs cortisol rhythms throughout the day. On the nutrition side, omega-3 rich foods like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds are linked to a healthier stress response, while magnesium-rich foods such as pumpkin seeds and leafy greens support nervous system function. Turmeric gets a nod too, specifically its active compound curcumin, which is among the most studied anti-inflammatory agents in the nutritional science literature. The broader implication here is important. The article is not saying cortisol does not matter. It absolutely does. Chronic dysregulation of this hormone is associated with cardiovascular disease, immune suppression, and metabolic disorders. The problem is framing it as an enemy to be detoxed, rather than a system to be supported through fundamental lifestyle habits. In a country where nearly 6 in 10 workers are burned out, the answer likely lies less in wellness products and more in structural conversations about work culture, rest, and what it means to actually take care of yourself. Story 2, Scientists Uncover Meditation's Hidden Side Effects. Can sitting quietly and focusing on your breathing for 10 minutes actually make you better at solving complex technical problems? According to researchers at the University of Seville, the answer appears to be yes, and they have the data to back it up. In a study released in February 2018, a team of 4 researchers, including Beatriz Bernardez, Amador Duran, Jose Antonio Perjo, and Antonio Ruiz, ran 3 separate experiments over several years to test whether mindfulness practice improves performance in computer engineering students. Their specific focus was on conceptual modeling, a cognitively demanding task that requires analytical thinking, reading comprehension, and the ability to classify and organize complex information. This is not a trivial exercise. It is exactly the kind of high-stakes problem-solving that defines real engineering work. The experimental setup was straightforward but rigorous. Students in the mindfulness group participated in sessions lasting 10 to 12 minutes, 4 times a week, for either 4 or 6 weeks depending on the experiment. Each session began with a body scan and then transitioned to focused breathing, training the mind to return attention to a single point and ignore distracting thoughts. Performance was measured before and after the intervention in both the mindfulness group and a control group that did not participate. The result, replicated consistently across all three experiments, was clear. Students who practiced mindfulness were significantly more efficient than their peers. They completed the correct portions of their tasks more quickly. This finding matters because efficiency in technical problem-solving is not just an academic metric. It translates directly to productivity in professional environments. The broader implications are significant. Companies like Google and Intel have already institutionalized mindfulness programs for their employees. This research suggests those investments may have a concrete cognitive rationale, not just a well-being one. For universities training the next generation of engineers and software developers, the case for integrating short mindfulness sessions into curricula is now supported by multiple rounds of empirical evidence. And for anyone who has dismissed meditation as a soft skills indulgence, this study offers a compelling counterargument. 10 minutes of focused breathing might actually make you sharper at your job. Story 3. Can breathwork really help to process trauma? Chronic pain is one of the most prevalent and undertreated conditions in the world, affecting hundreds of millions of people and costing healthcare systems enormous sums each year. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, has emerged over the past 2 decades as one of the most evidence-supported non-pharmacological approaches to managing it. But until now, no one had taken a comprehensive look at the full landscape of research in this area. A new systematic bibliometric analysis published in Frontiers in Medicine in June 2026 fills that gap. Researchers from 3 Chinese medical institutions analyzed 1,070 scientific papers published between 2005 and 2024, pulling from the Web of Science core collection and PubMed. The scope of this literature is remarkable. The papers span 67 countries, 1,584 institutions, and nearly 5,000 individual authors. That is a genuinely global scientific conversation, even if the volume is not evenly distributed. And here is where the findings get interesting. The United States dominates this field, contributing 59.16% of all publications and ranking first in citations. The University of Washington is the single most productive institution, and the Journal of Pain leads in total article count, accounting for about 7% of the entire identified literature. That level of geographic concentration in a condition that affects people everywhere in the world is worth pausing on. What is the field actually focused on right now? The keyword analysis points to 3 dominant themes: depression, sleep, anxiety, and quality of life, which reflect the well-established reality that chronic pain rarely travels alone. It clusters with mood disorders, insomnia, and cognitive impairment. The study also identifies 3 emerging research frontiers: digital CBT interventions delivered via apps or telehealth platforms, integrated management of comorbidities like insomnia and mood disorders, and personalized treatment strategies tailored to specific patient populations. The implications here are broad. As digital health platforms scale globally, the question of whether app-based CBT retains the efficacy of in-person therapy becomes urgent. And with populations aging and chronic pain diagnoses rising, the demand for accessible, scalable, evidence-based interventions has never been higher. This bibliometric map does not answer those questions, but it tells us exactly where the scientific community is looking for answers. Story 4. Pranayama for Anxiety. 5 Easy Breathing Techniques. This practical guide outlines 5 pranayama yogic breathing techniques specifically for reducing anxiety, explaining the physiological mechanism. Slow breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. It bridges ancient yogic practice with modern neuroscience in an accessible way. The article is directly relevant to breathwork, nervous system regulation, and vagal tone. Story 5. 10-minute morning yoga for a full body wake-up. Yoga Journal offers a concise, teacher-guided 10-minute morning yoga sequence targeting the shoulders, spine, and hips to awaken the body and mind. The practice is designed to create mobility and energetic openness at the start of the day. It exemplifies the practical, accessible yoga content that supports daily mind-body wellness. Story 6. Relieve fatigue with these 6 full-body yoga poses. Yoga Journal presents 6 full-body yoga poses specifically curated to address fatigue and restore energy. The sequence is framed around reconnecting with vitality and inner aliveness. It supports recovery, sleep quality, and overall well-being through accessible movement. Story 7. Need to slow down. 20-minute chair yoga can help you put yourself first. This Yoga Journal feature presents a 20-minute chair yoga sequence as a self-care practice for anyone who needs to decompress and prioritize their own well-being. Chair yoga is accessible to a wide range of practitioners, including those with mobility limitations. The practice supports stress reduction and the cultivation of body awareness in a gentle, inclusive format. Story 8. How to regulate your nervous system and feel calmer in minutes. This article provides a practical breathing protocol for rapid nervous system regulation, recommending a specific inhale-hold-exhale-hold pattern to activate the parasympathetic response. It emphasizes that the goal is not perfection but consistent use of breath as a calming tool. The content is accessible, actionable, and grounded in physiological principles. Story 9. Nervous System Regulation. How to get out of survival mode. This article explains how breath, as the only consciously controllable aspect of the autonomic nervous system, serves as a direct pathway to nervous system regulation. It highlights the technique of extending the exhale beyond the inhale as a key tool for shifting out of survival mode. The content connects somatic awareness with practical breathwork strategies. Story 10. How to lower your cortisol levels when feeling stressed out. This wellness article outlines practical, evidence-referenced strategies for reducing cortisol, the primary stress hormone, including yoga, sleep hygiene, and lifestyle habits. It presents a multimodal approach to stress reduction that aligns with holistic well-being principles. The content is accessible and covers several evidence-adjacent recommendations. Story 11. The beneficial aspects of mindfulness for students of computer engineering. This Science Daily report covers research showing that mindfulness practice improved problem-solving ability in computer engineering students, with supporting neurological evidence that meditation stimulates brain areas linked to compassion, attention, and concentration. While the study is from 2018, it provides solid neuroscience-backed evidence for mindfulness and focus enhancement. It is particularly relevant to the neuroscience of attention and the benefits of meditation for cognitive performance. Story 12. Emerging Trends in Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Chronic Pain. A Bibliometric Analysis. This 2026 Bibliometric Analysis in Frontiers in Medicine identifies mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, as a key emerging trend alongside CBT for chronic pain management, referencing a systematic review and network meta-analysis comparing the two approaches. It provides research-level evidence for MBSR's clinical relevance. While focused on pain management, it directly validates mindfulness as an evidence-based therapeutic tool.